Okay.
How was it? I feel like it's Monday morning and I want to say, is that the best you can do? That's it, we're in New York City, advertising week, it's day one. How was it? Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Gabe Howard and I am the host of the Inside Mental Health podcast with Healthline Media. And I have three incredible panelists with me today to talk about how micro changes lead to macro wellness effects. You knew that because it's literally right there on the slide. We're going to start off with Dr. Jenny Yu, the head of medical affairs at Healthline Media. Big round of applause. Karina Kogan, chief marketing officer for Aura Health. And Mark Merlette, co-founder and co-CEO at Obey Fitness. All right, let's start with you, Dr. Jenny, because we work together, so that's just a natural fit. Dr. Jenny, you're a former practicing physician who now works for the leading digital health platform in the world. What are your thoughts on consumers looking for themselves for small changes to improve their health?
Yeah, I think unfortunately we've had so much focus in traditional healthcare on sick care, right? If you've been to a doctor recently, you know that there's really not space or time to talk about lifestyle behavior changes, potentially what it means to be well or do prevention. And because of that, people, especially whatever experience you've had during the pandemic and coming out of that, you've seen all the images of people being sick and feeling sick, and you just want to do something to sort of empower how you think about being well and feeling healthier. So as a result, the Healthline Consumer Insights team recently had a survey, and it showed that 65% of people are looking for little things to think about to make their lives a little bit healthier. And I think that's great, right? Anytime a consumer has information and feels empowered in their health journey, then it actually makes the world and society in a healthier way. And so that's what we want. So, Karina?
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. I think largely because of COVID, but certainly before that, I think we started to see a secular shift from sick care to self-care, from sick care to preventative care, consumers wanting to take greater control over their health, wanting to be more active participants in their health outcomes, rather than outsourcing their health exclusively to a doctor. I go when I'm sick, they give me medicine, I feel better, and then I forget about my health, right? And what is self-care? Self-care is about healthy habits. It's about eating healthier. It's about sleeping better. It's about exercise. It's about all these changes and things we can do every day to set ourselves up for better health over the course of our lives. Certainly that's the space that the wearables category plays in, right? Giving you information about how you're doing every day, as opposed to waiting till you're sick to go to a doctor and then you already know how you're doing, you're feeling sick. So, that stat sort of ties back to what we already see in culture.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said, Karina and Jenny, and Healthline, thank you for having us today. We have an audience of people around the world who are making small changes to get on that journey to healthy living and habit formation. And I think what we learned during the pandemic was whether you were someone who was exercising 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, if you were just beginning your journey, if you were in a situation where you were bogged down with childcare and work and Zooms and life, those small changes are the first step in real habit formation, real change, real lasting results. And so what does that mean from an exercise perspective? It means that attitudes are changing from I must do a 45-minute class or an hour-long HIIT class to I'll start with 10 minutes. And then maybe I'll go to my Zoom meeting or do whatever, and I'll do 10 minutes more, or I won't. And then maybe I'll stack another one on top of that. But before you know it, you've actually had a really healthy day, a really good day for yourself. And then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. That's pretty new from a general population workout perspective.
Healthline Media loves to track what's going on and to look at what consumers are doing and what people are doing. And in February 2020, about 40% of the population was willing to make a sacrifice in order to live longer. Now here we are, I don't want to say after the pandemic, but certainly far, far, far into the pandemic. and 60% of people are willing to make a sacrifice to live longer. This is up 20% in a fairly short amount of time, all things considered. So Karina, I want to throw a question to you. As a wearables company, how do you leverage the information that you can provide consumers with data to help users accomplish their goals and achieve daily habits in that digestible way? How do you get the information to the people?
Yeah, so in a lot of ways. So the Oura app, which is synced to your Ring, uncovers a whole world of biometric data. But it also synthesizes a lot of that data into 3 scores, which makes it super digestible, like almost like gamified. So it's like you don't have to go really, really deep. You get those scores. And a lot of our members start every morning with those 3 scores. They get a sleep score, a readiness score, and an activity score. And so when I wake up in the morning, I see how well I've slept, and that gives me a great sense of like what kind of day I'm gonna have. Am I groggy? Did my sleep score kind of not great? Or did I get a 90 and I know I'm gonna conquer the day? And it gives me a great sort of, again, sense of how to tackle my day. The other thing, because Oura is tracking your heart rate, your skin temperature, there's 7 temperature sensors in the Ring. Oura is also looking at your baselines, right? We're not all perfectly 98.6. We all actually have a very different baseline body temperature. And so Oura is able to track the most minuscule variations to something like your body temperature and sense if something's off. For women, by the way, it also helps track your menstrual cycle. But I know a lot of folks have used wearables to help them identify that they're getting sick. When our body temperature increases even a little bit, it could be a sign that we're fighting infection. And that happens often, sometimes before we're even having symptoms like a runny nose or even a fever. And so there's a lot of ways to use wearables outside of fitness, which was traditionally or early on, wearables were really used to track our steps, to track calories, right? For weight maintenance and for fitness tracking, but now there's so much more to unpack. And one of the things Oura is really great at, obviously, is sleep. And so many people tell me, now that, when I tell people where I work, oh my God, the Ring has helped me change my sleep habits because now folks are able to track variations in their sleep, how much deep sleep you're getting, how much REM sleep you're getting, your sleep latency, so how quickly you fall asleep. And all of those are indicators, not just what kind of day you're gonna have, but what's going on in your body.
And I think it's exciting to have this data to sort of help you in your wellness journey. We can't think about sleep or mental health or nutrition or fitness sort of in its own silo. We have to think about it as a whole continuum. And so having that data, whether it's reassuring, oh, this is how I'm going to feel today because of the different tracks, versus, oh, I think I might be getting sick. We're just sort of tapping into all these biometrics, and having all those biometrics, I think, will help sort of how people access care, how people sort of feel empowered in thinking about their care before they head to a doctor. So that's really exciting.
Mark, for you at Obey, how are you leveraging the data to get to get information into the hands of consumers so they know they can do better?
Yeah, I don't need to tell this group data. Data is everything, right? That great mix of data and gut and instinct. And for us, the fitness business is not one size fits all. People want to move in different ways every day. What I like to do one day might be very different from what you like to do one day, and what I want to do today, I might not want to do tomorrow. So we really use data to make sure that we are delivering the best experience to our members at home based on what they want, how they want to move. Do they want short classes, as I mentioned earlier? Do they want longer classes? Are they a dance cardio person? Are they a HIIT person? Heavier weights, etc. If I'm delivering someone who's looking for a heavier weight class at home, a dance cardio class in heels, because we do have that once in a while, I'm probably going to lose that person in their trial. So for us, it's really about using data to personalize that journey, to create the lasting habits so that people actually fall in love with movement and fall in love with getting healthier and stronger and more confident. We really use data to that degree of personalization. We do it as it relates to instructor types. What kind of new talent are we bringing on the air? What kind of class types are we doing? We saw during the pandemic when everyone was sort of locked inside in those early weeks of March, we saw this huge contingent of folks who were coming in from the boutique fitness scene, and they wanted their butts kicked. And we have a lot of hard classes and a lot of hard programs, but we needed more to keep up with their needs, right? They were insatiable. as it relates to the difficulty. We had to do that. We saw that there were folks who wanted more low impact. They wanted more stability-based classes. Maybe they were in their later decades of life or they've had an injury. We looked at the data, we did that. Same goes for kids, and the list goes on. What we've also learned from data, though, is data is textured. Data is multi-layered. We've been in situations where we said, well, wait a minute, people are taking a lot more on-demand classes than live classes. Maybe live isn't as important as we thought. Cut the data a different way. Live is extremely important, our live classes. Why? Because that same person who takes 20 on-demand classes a month might take that one live class on Saturday morning that they're obsessed with. They're surrounded by the community. They're going to get a shout out from their favorite instructor. They're in the moment. They're hearing a funny story from the instructor on the way to the set. But whatever that is, it's magical, it's powerful, and it's important in that moment. Had we not cut the data in that way to look at it as well, we may have made a rash decision that resulted in user churn. So it's really important how we run the business, and it's really important, most importantly, in how we serve our members day in and day out.
Mark, you've touched on this a little bit about putting the person ahead of the technology, but I still have to ask, as somebody, I personally love technology. I work for a health and wellness media website, for Pete's sake. I love data. I just love not leaving my house. But in this great race to have great tech, how do we keep people front and center? And this is just a question for the entire panel.
Yeah, I'm glad to, and I'd love to hear more about why you don't like to leave your house. We are perfect for
Scary
you at Obey. No, but here's the thing. My business partner and I, we come to the fitness business as former talent agents. We met each other as agents at CAA, and before that I was at another agency called William Morris. So we're not coming into the game as former Google engineers or from Amazon. We're not coming in as former trainers. We're really bringing an incredible content experience to people every day, right? We like to call it entertainment. And so that has always been our main priority. How can we give you as much content that makes your heart sing and your body soar and ready to take on the world ahead of you every single day? We can't do that, per the data piece, without great technology. We can't personalize that without great technology. We can't make that accessible on every screen at your fingertips without great technology. And so while we are a content company, we are also a technology company. The people piece of it is really important, though, because we can grow our engineering team all day long. But if we're not in the middle of our community, if we're not listening to what people want, if we're not creating great in-person touch points and other ways to emulsify community and listen to what our members want, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it. And so because of that, we are always in touch with our members. We're always getting them together in person or virtually, and we are always learning new ways to satisfy them both with the technology and the content and through the overall brand itself.
You, Karina?
Yeah, I mean, at Aura, we talk about ourselves as a human-centered, member-first company. So everything starts with the member, whether it's our, R&D and our product development roadmap. What does the member want? We do a lot of research. We also hear from our existing members. We just actually launched a new product, which is the Horizon Ring. That was 100% our members saying, your ring has a little square top. We want a perfectly round ring. We heard from members that they, wear their rings in lieu of their wedding bands, and that they wanted something that was totally seamless. That's an example. We launched our integration with Strava. That was something that our members asked for. They wanted to be able to use Strava and the Aura app together and share the data between the apps. We also launched a partnership with Natural Cycles because a lot of women who maybe use Aura to help track their menstrual cycles, but then use Natural Cycles as a natural form of birth control. What we wanted to be able to do for those folks is, rather than waking up every morning and tracking, and checking your temperature, with an analog oral thermometer, you can now wake up and get your Aura temperature data in the Natural Cycles app. And how nice is that, right? To eliminate that cumbersome behavior. But all of that comes from asking members what they want, how we can better serve them, what features they feel are missing. I mean, everything we build is to serve them and around them. And even in our marketing communications, we often ask, I'm a marketer, and a lot of times as a marketer, you come up with slogans, or you look at, you write copy and you think of ways to try and bring your product to the market, to consumers. And we always say, well, why should the person care? How is what we're saying human, relatable, like if I say biometric data, who cares, right? Do you care? I don't know. But if I say to you, I can help you track your menstrual cycle, or I can help you track with natural cycles, I can eliminate the need for you to use an oral thermometer. Now you care, because that's relatable, right? Than saying, all those other things that, So I'm sure that the played on video very well, but I think you guys get my point that everything starts from the member, right? And it's really easy, especially if you work in technology. You said you love technology, but I think we get caught up in features and software and data and releases and things and widgets, and sometimes you have to take a step back and say, well, to what end? For what purpose? Why is this helpful? How is this going to make someone feel better and improve their day? And at Oura, we're constantly asking ourselves that.
Thank you so much. Dr. Jenny?
One, that's the success of Healthline Media, right? It has paid attention to the consumers and the users who come to our site, ensuring that our content is relatable to the people who are coming to seek health information. We're medically driven, but making sure that we are speaking it with conscious language and empathic tone so that they can see themselves in our content, and that's where our success has been. And I think it's important, from just what Mark and Karina have said as well, that we have to not think of tech as being the monumental step in how a person's taking towards their health journey. We have to think of it as that's their kind of tool or accessory, and there are other things that are important in terms of the daily habits that lead to health outcomes and a healthier lifestyle. And so that's what we focus on with Healthline.
Thank you all so much. So one of the things that nobody in this room is probably surprised to hear, but people like to meet in clumps. They like to get together in groups. Like-minded people love to sit in the same room and hear the same presentation so that they can all learn together. The health community is no different. People who have the same health issues, they want to gather in the same room. They want to build a sense of community, don't want to feel like they're alone. So my question, and in fact, 64% of people report that that's of vital importance to them seeking out a service or a product. So my question is, what is the role of community and connection in driving consumer engagement?
Yeah, community is everything for us, okay? And it's kind of been the cornerstone of what we've built at Obé since day one. If you look at, whatever you are all doing in your sort of fitness regimen, whether it's brick and mortar, maybe it's a gym, maybe it's a bar class, maybe it's a boot camp club, maybe it's at home with us, maybe it's at home with a bike company. You're probably meeting people along the way. And those people are probably making the journey that much sweeter. Those sort of easy, low-stakes relationships where you're lifting each other up, you're keeping each other accountable, you are doing it together. Back to that live class, knowing you're surrounded. Even if you're in your own living room, you know that so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so are on minute one of that same plank, and they're cursing out the instructor at the same time, and you're so glad to know that they're doing it too. It matters. And for us as a company that is primarily digital, right, like 99.9% digital, how do we bring people together in ways to support each other along the journey? Facebook groups, in-platform, in-person events, right? How do we basically take Obé to where you are, whatever city you're in, and find ways for you to experience the brand beyond your living room, beyond your gym, beyond your hotel room? And that's something that's just been really important to us from day one. And so what we do is, like I said, we basically talk to our community, we listen to our community, we hold our community on the ultimate pedestal, and then where we can, we actually get them together in person. And so as we look at our strategy now, and as we look at sort of this post-pandemic or COVID transition, or whatever you want to call it, moment in time, we're looking at how do we keep users still engaged digitally, which they are. I mean, it's study after study that's saying that there are like 80% of the people who found digital fitness during the pandemic who now are still working out at home and prefer to do it at home. We've had a recent survey where we're seeing that actually between about 60% of the folks we've surveyed are working out at home between 5 and 7 days a week. How do we get them involved in the community digitally? And then how do we find a couple times throughout the year for them to meet their friend that they made through the platform, meet other friends. And that's what we're working on now. And I've got to say, it's one of the most exciting initiatives we've had as a company, because we are just so excited to get members together and have them meet each other around the world. Pre-COVID, we were doing almost 40 events a year, right? So this is very different from saying, let's go to a gym, very different from saying, let's go build a bricks and mortar studio. This is saying, let's create an experience. Let's create a hub. Let's create a convention. You saw BravoCon over the weekend. We're here at Adweek this week, where people can get together, say hey, really nurture the relationship, have a good time with a shared interest, and then go back to your regularly scheduled program. It makes the journey so much better. It's great for retention. It's great for results. And frankly, I think it's as healthy as the fitness, right? To make a friend along the way and have that person backing you up and that dopamine connection is as healthy as the workout itself. Non-doctor, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mark. Karina.
Yeah, so we talk about sort of 5 human-centered benefits of Oura, or attributes, benefits, but knowledge, empowerment, better habits, support, which is an extension of community or part of community, and outcomes. And support is really important and strategic, so much so that at times we've even argued about where on the diagram to put it, to make it, to make sure that it's front and center as part of these 5 pillars. And the reason for that is manifold. One is, it's actually when you're not feeling well, when you're sick, when you're suffering from a chronic condition, it could be really lonely. And that loneliness or isolation or sense of like, am I the only person going through this, can actually sometimes make it worse, right? Because you feel stressed. You feel, and stress, then compounds your illness. So having a space that feels safe, or like giving you a sense of connection to other people that are going through what you're going through, could be really powerful feeling on the sort of the journey to feeling better, to wellness. The other thing is there's a real power to crowdsourcing information and content, right? Meaning, so the Oura Ring and the app will give you insights. We'll give you recommendations. We'll give you information. We'll give you tips on things you can do to improve your outcomes. But a lot of the time, it's that conversation with someone. It's being in a community and seeing how other people, what other folks have tried, or what other people are doing, what life hacks exist in the community that actually can give you the ideas that you need to solve problems. So, so that content, that user-generated content that can come from community is also so powerful in helping, in helping folks kind of find the thing that works for them. I'll give you an example. I didn't know this until I started wearing the Oura Ring, but I don't get enough deep sleep. If I don't make certain changes in my daily habits, I will get very little deep sleep. And deep sleep is super critical. When you spend time in deep sleep, your body purges toxins, it repairs itself, it's your bones, your muscles, your tissues, the doctor will tell you more. It consolidates memory, and deep sleep helps you helps kind of prevent later onset of diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really important. And I would get 8 hours of sleep before my Oura Ring, wake up in the morning and be like, I slept 8 hours, should be good. But I would actually have only gotten 10 minutes of deep sleep. And when I started tracking my deep sleep through my Oura Ring, Oura would make recommendations of things I could do. And certain things helped, don't drink late at night, don't get after
How's that going?
Don't get after it. COVID was a big problem for me, you guys. I really, took that it's 5 o'clock somewhere thing pretty seriously. But the other things, Oura will tell you that you can try. And then I was talking to my husband, and he's a really big meditator, and he was like, when I meditate twice a day, my deep sleep is better. And Oura had told me to try meditation. I was like, whatever, nah. I did it, and I saw an immediate impact. And it was just having a conversation with someone else about what I was going through. In that case, it was my husband. But you can see how those kinds of discussions, like the crowdsourcing of information, can often also lead us to find answers, right? So it's super important to have community.
I would agree that the shared experiences helps you to find your own identity, and that identity, when you feel like you belong in a community that understands how you feel, what you're going through, is actually super important, especially the psychological effects of how you take care of a chronic condition. So Healthline launched all these communities known as BESI for people who are living with multiple sclerosis or depression or inflammatory bowel disease. And those communities are so successful because it's giving a space for people to come in and talk about their experiences, share what they've gone through, and really having that support, whether it's in person or digitally, really helps people feel connected, and that then helps their mental health in terms of that positive psychology, and that impacts how they're gonna live with their chronic condition and in terms of how they manage their chronic condition.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We don't have very much time left, so Mark, I have just a real quick question for you. Most people believe that exercise is difficult, painful, hard, and nobody wants to do it. I believe the last stat was something like 80% of gym memberships go unused. But Obey has been able to get people not only to exercise, but exercise at home in their I don't have to exercise space because I can wear sweatpants. Did you find that consumer engagement was driven by people talking about how easy it was, how good they felt? What was your big push to get people to exercise in their private space when nobody wants to do it anywhere else?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. Listen, it's our job to make exercise fun, right? And sometimes those words do not go hand in hand, but that is what we do every single day. And back to that entertainment piece, we are delivering content from incredible instructors that make you laugh, make you smile, make you think, might make you cry. The plank, the squats, they might make you cry too. But at the end of the day, it's fun. And you know, I think that if you look at digital fitness, specifically through the 90s, so the 80s were fun, the 80s were cool, right? The 90s through the aughts of the 2000s, it was sort of like, looked like something you do in your unfinished basement, like dungeon style, right? Like it didn't, those at-home videos, those VHS tapes and DVDs didn't look fun. We wanted to make it fun. That's why our colors are bold. That's why we partner with companies like Disney and HBO Max and our friends at Athleta and WW. And we find really great ways to partner. But that's what we've done. We've made it fun, and we think that if you're gonna have a good time working out, you'll come back, you'll come back, you'll come back, you'll come back. And that is a specific elixir of personalization, of great content, of incredible instructors, of always surprising and delighting. I mentioned that heels class. We don't do too many heels classes, but they do exist. But we embrace every single holiday, right? Like, you should see my office this week. It's like a Willy Wonka factory of Halloween. It's been like that for 3 weeks. We have so many costuming moments. And you know what? Our members dress up at home, and the sweaty selfies that they're putting up on social are like drenched in costume. It's amazing. So why not make your workout fun? Why not make it something you'll look forward to? And why not make it something that you can actually stick to because you're looking forward to it, and you have that community to hold your back?
And of course, when you stick to it and you look great, people are going to come up and ask you, oh my God, how did you do it? And that probably can't hurt in marketing either.
The viral effect of a happy member, of a confident member is really great. And in a world where we're looking at acquisition, right, and how to market, network effects in a business like ours are really important and something that we focus on. So it's a way that we can measure if we're doing our job or not, actually.
Wonderful. Dr. Jenny, Karina, Mark, thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Healthline Media, thank you.